Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on a very special day for the Bears Podcast, for the Bears, for Caleb Williams, for Keenan Allen, for Adam Hoge, for Nicholas Moreano, and for my good friend, my teammate, Gregory P. Allen Bragg, so I get to sit next to today. Hey, we just hit 52,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. I know we got a lot of new people in here today, as it's a big day that we have two of our superstars out there on the campus of USC who just watched Caleb Williams throw. Greg Braggs just put his pants back on because that was exciting. Adam Hoge, you were there. I'm assuming you kept your pants on the entire time. But, hey, big day for the Bears. Everybody there. Hoge, you were there, so let's just send it out to you, brother, as you have a beautiful background. Give me your takeaways. How exciting was it?
Yeah, I kept him on all the way till the very end when he booted a 43-yard punt to close out Pro Day. And at that point, I just lost my mind. What else can this guy do? No. Look, let's talk first about the on-field stuff, which again, just to set expectations correct. Same thing we've been talking about the last couple of days. You're not going to win, or this type of prospect is not going to win or lose his Pro Day really based on what's being done on the field. But that being said, it's still nice to be able to see him in person, get an idea of how that ball comes out of his hand. And the word I would use is smooth. It comes out easy. The ball pops out of that hand very, very easily. You see that natural talent. It's undeniable. And then in terms of the accuracy, I believe the number was 50. I think the script called for 50 throws. 4 of them hit the ground. All 4 of them were deep balls. One of them was definitely a drop. Maybe one or two of the other ones could have maybe been, if the route's a little bit better, been completed. But regardless, that's still a really good completion percentage, as it should be. They're running around, running routes without a defense, and it's all scripted. But everything short, over the middle, those intermediate, out, ins, whatever, right on the money for the most part. So, he passed all that part of the test if he even needed to, which I don't really think he had to. What I thought was part of what I was doing, because Nick was also here, we're going to hear from Nick in a little bit, and he was really keyed in on sort of filming all the throws. I was trying to keep my eyes on a lot of what Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles were doing during it. And here's one of my biggest observations. Not that this is a surprise, but they were here to see Caleb Williams. The rest of the Pro Day, while the offensive linemen were working out or the testing was going on, because remember, they run 40s and they run the short shuttles and all that type of stuff here, just like they do at the Combine. While all that was going on, Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, Matt Eberflus, they were all just having conversations with people. That was, if you've seen the videos of Poles shaking hands with Carl Williams or Matt Eberflus talking to Carl Williams, that was actually towards the end of the whole day. But the point is, they weren't even really paying attention to the rest of the Pro Day until Caleb Williams got up there and started throwing. And then to kind of set the scene on what that was all like, Poles and Eberflus stood behind him, kind of directly behind where the quarterback was throwing. And actually, Lincoln Riley, USC's head coach, came over and talked to them for a big portion of the throwing session. Meanwhile, Shane Waldron was off to the sideline. And I think Thomas Brown was over there too. Ian Cunningham kind of stayed in the corner where he had been for most of the day. So they sort of had the whole field surrounded and represented with the big contingent that they brought down here. And there didn't seem to be much of a worry. Honestly, we were probably focused more in on how it all looked than maybe they even were. And meanwhile, Caleb Williams was walking right there on the other side of this camera that you can't see right now.
Tell him to come on.
He's still walking around campus.
Caleb. You can make history and be on the CHGO Bears podcast, unlike the last quarterback who we still love but never came on. Maybe we can get Caleb on here.
So, yeah, obviously, I thought one of the things that stood out to me watching the NFL Plus live stream, Daniel Jeremiah said, he's passed the dunk contest already, but I want to see him hit the free throws. And so by what you're saying there in your first statement, you felt like he accomplished that goal?
Yeah, and honestly, every throw, with the exception of some of these like 50-yarders, straight goes down the field. Even against no defense, those aren't always easy to complete. Those were the only ones he missed. So yeah, if we're calling all the rest of those free throws, I would agree. And it's not just completing it, but it's also being accurate with those throws. There was only two throws that were completions that I thought were maybe even just a little bit off the mark. One, Taj Washington went down and made a really nice catch along the sidelines where he kind of had to reach down for it. Another one was just slightly high. It was kind of a deep crosser, and not necessarily a bad throw by any means, but Brendan Rice had to go up a little bit and catch it up above his head. But it was a really nice snag. Actually, for Brendan Rice's day, the son of Jerry Rice, one of the wide receivers out here, that was probably his highlight of the entire day, if not the other go that those two hooked up on, which was like probably at least a 50, 55, maybe even 60-yard throw. It's kind of hard to tell from my vantage point, but I think we have the video up on CHGO Bears on our Twitter account.
That throw was when I did realize that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years. I think we're about to play it right now. Do we have this, Steven? We're going to run it?
We have a compilation here of all of his deep throws.
Yeah. You can just see how easy it comes out of his hand.
Yeah, that wasn't the exact one I was talking about, but that
this is the one.
Yeah, and even this one, I'm not even sure it was part of the script.
Actually, that wasn't it. Yep.
No, I'll tell you when it's the one. But yeah, I think this was the one that Brendan Rice that if we watch it again, we can get the exact yardage on it maybe. But the point is,
I think Weeder said 67 yards. He counted 67 yards in the air. That seems about right.
Okay. The point is that I'm not sure that was part of the script, because he kind of, right before the throw, he kind of said something to Brendan Rice, and it was like, I don't know, just go. And then it seemed like it was just like, let's see how far we can throw this and complete it for fun. And that was another one of my observations, was like, I've been to some pro days, and there's probably more anxiety involved with them than there even should be, quite frankly. And yes, it's a big moment. Like, these guys are all going through a long job interview here, and you don't want to screw it up. You want to get everything right. I felt like Caleb's demeanor today was just that confidence, almost borderline cockiness, that actually I love to see from players sometimes, where it's just like, yeah, this is not a big deal. I'm just going to go out here and throw the football around with my friends for, 20 minutes while the entire NFL world watches, whether they're here in person or on TV. And I didn't sense any pressure really from him. And I think that's kind of his personality, even when he talks to the media as well.
So Keenan Allen shows up there, and one of the quotes that we pulled, it's on our Twitter account, but we're going to put it on the screen here, I believe.
Actually, I'm having trouble getting it on the screen right now.
It doesn't matter. Let me just read it out here. It says, he's talking about, this is Caleb talking about Keenan and Hoge. You tell me if I'm going too far here. But he writes, I've known Keenan for a little bit now, hung out. He was at the Chargers. Now he's at the Bears. He's here for a 4th-round pick, which is crazy. He's a beast, good guy, and he can give you a lot of knowledge. Jay Zawoski rolled me over before. He's like, he's here. And the way he's hearing he's here is that Caleb knows that he's here with me with the Bears, as in this is done. Can we just it's done, right? It's done. This is done. He's here.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about this, guys. I mean, unless it's something catastrophic happens between now and the draft. Whether we don't need to go into what those situations could be, but something totally unforeseen and not very likely to happen at all, especially with the infrastructure that Caleb Williams has in place. So Yeah, and I sensed that a little bit too. Even in that, I think he went on to say in that answer too that it was like, I think he even referred to him as somebody I might potentially be teammates with. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if that was the exact quote, but he went down that road, which is not a surprise. And the other things he had to say about the Bears, because the Bears flew here on Monday. I'm not exactly sure the specifics on if they were with them Monday. I know that there was definitely, I think, a dinner, whether it was yesterday or Monday night, but they've definitely spent some time together here in Los Angeles, which is why they came out so early. And the interesting thing was the way that question was asked was like kind of, what have you learned about the Bears? Which is something I wanted to ask him too. Coming down here was on my list. It's like, yeah, these teams come down here to learn about you, but what have you learned about the Bears? And he kind of spun it back around. He's like, well, this is more about them learning about me. Like, they're going to invest a ton of money in whoever they pick at number one, and they want to make sure I'm the right guy. So I think that should calm down, any lingering, sort of fake worry that he's not going to come to Chicago or something like that. I mean, I think most of that's been dispelled to this point and will continue to be. The only thing that, and we have this clip, I think, ready to go. The only thing that I thought was a little odd was he was asked by Pat Finley from the Sun-Times, when his visit to Hallis Hall is going to be, and this was his answer.
I don't know yet. I wanted to come out here, put on a show, but also I've been working on mainly training and training for this next step. It's only about 30 days out until possibly picking. And so been working on that. Been working on actually preparing for actual season and not necessarily here for maybe draft day or anything like that.
So what's your reading of that, Hoge?
I mean, kind of what his answer was. I don't know. Here's one thing, and I'm already working to hopefully get some clarification on this because it does matter. I mean, it does matter that he takes a visit to Hallis Hall. I mean, for no other reason, the whole reason for not doing his medicals at the Combine was he was saying he would do the medicals when he visits these teams. Of course, there was the bit that Albert Breer had that, the Bears wanted him to come in earlier. He declined for now, but that was sort of what his answer was there, right? Like, I was preparing for the pro day, which is the next step. And by the way, that's relatively typical. You get done with the Combine, the next step's the pro days, and then after the pro days, you worry about those 30 visits. That's not abnormal. I want to make that clear. But it was still just like, I've been more worried about this and not worried about that. And he didn't really confirm if he was even going to visit Hallis. And I actually, at the very end, here's the other part about this. It was a little weird today. The press conference kind of abruptly ended, not like in any way that was any type of animosity, but the last question he answered was from a guy right next to me as I was trying to get a question in about are you visiting Hallis Hall? And the guy next to me was obviously a USC reporter or somebody that he knew. And he's like, I'm going to take his question first. He answered it, and it was all about like the future of USC and why recruits should come here. It's sunny out and all this. And then he was just like, fight on. And he walked away. And I was like, okay. 'Cause it's not like USC tried to end the press conference. He just kind of ended it. So it just kind of left these lingering questions about the next step for what the Bears and Caleb Williams, which is obviously this 30 visit, when that's going to happen. Maybe even if that's going to happen. I mean, until we know for sure, that's just sort of the only lingering piece still left in all this. But again, I mean, I don't think that ends up changing the outcome in this in any way.
Hoge, stick around for a second. I know we're going to hear from Nick also, but let me remind you, and by the way, everybody who's watching right now, if you can hit that like button, we'd greatly appreciate it as we try to grow the show. We got over 3,400 people watching right now. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well, as you'll know that some days like today when we are traveling, when very few are, to Caleb Williams Pro Day, that the show's a little bit later, you'll know when it's going to happen, and we are here Monday through Friday at noon, pre and post games, breaking news. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support, and we also appreciate the support from Ray CDJR. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, some great news for you. Our partner Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Fox Lake celebrating the Jeep Celebration event all month long. You know what that means. You'll be able to rave about their savings as a wide selection of inventory. For a limited time, you can lease a new 2024 Grand Cherokee Laredo Altitude for only $439 a month for 39 months. The Grand Cherokee isn't big enough for you? Check out the third row and lease a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited L for you, Braggs, you big man, you. $479 a month for 39 months at Ray CDJR. You'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and drive home with more money in your pocket. That's not all. Just for you for listening, you get a free oil change when you mention CHGO at the service center or mention CHGO when you book online at raycdjr/service. You got to do it, though, before April the 1st. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today, Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
That's right. And I want to tell you about Empire, our guys over at Empire. With Empire today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats. But Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, speed, so competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. It's all about value. They keep shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not to overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. The virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. Easy, just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. And they also pride themselves on convenient shop-at-home service. They help customers shop for floors where they use their floors so you can see exactly what their new floors will look like in their homes, lighting and decor, so they can make an informed decision. Service on our own warranties. If an issue does arise, just call Empire. They service all warranties themselves. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number, so schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off discount when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
All right, so back to the Hoge. I know we're going to get Nick in here in a second, and I know you guys are flying, so we don't have all the time in the world here. But so, Adam, give me top takeaways as you just kind of digest everything that happened today. We saw the arm strike. We saw the relaxed demeanor. We saw how he handled the media. We saw a lot of handshakes and hugs with Flus and Keenan Allen and Ryan Poles. I just kind of underlined all of that. But what else from being there that are your main takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, the Keenan Allen side of him showing up here is interesting. I mean, one, look, he lives here, not that big of a deal. It's not like he flew across the country to come here. But I, off the top of my head, I've been to a lot of these pro days. I can't remember a current. I mean, there's plenty of former players. Like today, I could tell you Josh McCown. Obviously, he's on a coaching staff now, but Mark Sanchez was here. Matt Leinart was here, right? A lot of former USC guys like that. So there's plenty of former players that show up. I can't remember a current NFL player, potential teammate. Right. Certainly, I mean, that's part of this too. Like he's their biggest acquisition they traded for last week to help Caleb Williams shows up at the pro day. Like, I don't care if the guy lives here in LA. That's super interesting.
Yep.
And he was around Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham and Matty Eberflus the whole time for the most part. By the way, everyone was asking on Twitter who the person was with the death row jacket on. That apparently is Keenan Allen's agent. So I was told that.
If she'd like to represent me, I'm in.
Yeah. I just, I don't know what it really means, but it's like, clearly it got the attention of Caleb. Caleb noticed it. He knows Keenan Allen. And it's not nothing. Let's say that. I mean, it's not nothing. I don't know if he did it on his own. I don't know if the Bears asked him to come, but it's pretty cool that he was there regardless of how it all came together.
Yeah, that was definitely my biggest takeaway as well for a current player and a player of this magnitude to be drafted. It's definitely a sign. And then for Caleb to say, I've known this guy for a year and we're friendly, and him to come there, it made me go back to when Caleb said at the Combine, what about teams that want you? Well, do you want to win? And the Bears bring in a guy that he's already familiar with, and now this guy shows up at his pro day. I'm connecting a few dots here, but to me, like watching those guys together, it was like, okay, send the card in. This dude's getting drafted today. And I know we've felt that way for a long time, but to see things in the moment, the visualization, to see some of this stuff come to fruition is exciting as a Bears fan.
Did you shake his hand, Hoge?
Whose hand?
Caleb Williams.
No.
Well, I have a reason why I'm asking that, but I have a reason why I'm asking. His hand size, 9 7/8 inches. Okay, that's a big hand, dude. Patrick Mahomes' hand is 9 1/4. By the way, hand size matters. It does. You want to be able to control the damn thing. It's a part. It's a characteristic. Yes. You can get by with lesser hands. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is doing fine at 9 1/4.
Ask Joe Burrow if hand size matters. If we're going to talk about shaking hands, okay, if you want to go down that road, let's talk about the handshakes that maybe mattered the most today. And that was Ryan Poles being taken over to Carl Williams, Caleb's father. They had a brief conversation. There was a handshake. We put that out there on @CHGO_Bears on Twitter. And then at the end of the throwing session, when it was all over, Matt Eberflus made a point of going over there too to say hi. Now, this is just more of my two observations from this. When Ryan Poles went over there, it looked like they were being introduced to each other, which I thought was very interesting. It did not look like two people that, have had a ton of conversations together. Maybe they've talked before, and that's the first time they've ever talked in person. I don't know. But he was literally, someone brought him over to Carl Williams. Now, when Matt went there later, it was more on his own. And then they had about a 45 to 50-second conversation before Eberflus left. Part of why I think this is worth bringing up, though, because this is from my own reporting in the story I wrote about Caleb Williams back at Super Bowl week. Every source I've talked to, every coach I've talked to, when I ask about Carl, it is he stays out of the way. He's the business guy. He does have a lot of interest in his son, but he stays out of the way. I thought it was super noticeable and confirming that reporting that while Caleb had guys on the field with him, I'm not exactly sure who the one guy is, but he's clearly like a manager or something that's always kind of there, and he was there in Indy too. Might have been the guy that Sylvie confused for Carl Williams at the Combine. He's on the field. He's talking to Flus, he's talking to Poles and all that, but Carl was just in the stands, kind of out of the way. In the front of the stands, but out of the way, clearly not trying to bring attention to himself, not trying to be in the middle of the pro day or anything, to the point that those guys had to actually walk over to the stands to say hi to him. I think that's worth bringing up.
It is a good underlining. And it again, to your reporting and to what we've read, is that, look, he's about the business, but he's not about talking to coaches. He's not about trying to influence what plays are being called. He's not that dude. I want to stick more just a little bit on just the actual physical appearance here. 6 feet 7/8 inches, 217 pounds. Is that what he looked like to you, Hoge? Was he? You're a tall Hoge. Was he eye level for you?
He's shrunk. He's shrunk since the Combine. Like, how concerned are we that he's going to be as tall as Muggsy Bogues by the time the regular season starts? This is scary.
Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big controversy. I've never seen a quarterback prospect like this shrink. No, okay. here's how this works. Not that I'm a doctor, but anybody who's been in a chiropractor. So when I go to the chiropractor, and you guys know I have to go quite a bit, I have this right hip problem, okay? And when they put it back in place, my right leg literally adjusts by 2 inches. That's a real thing, okay? So the way our human bodies work, how can you weigh in and one day a quarter inch higher than, a few weeks later your pro day? That's why. It's because of our spines. It's definitely not a big deal. So let's just dispel that right away.
You just made me more nervous that the guy's going to the chiropractor all the time. Did he look tall? Was he a big guy in front of you?
No. I did not say that he goes to the chiropractor. You didn't listen to what I said. I said I go to the chiropractor. Maybe he should have gone to the chiropractor last night. Had he gotten an adjustment, he might have been taller. He might have been a quarter inch taller than when he weighed in Indianapolis.
There's just that there's the occasional chat in here and the occasional Twitter. He's short. He's not tall enough.
Well, how tall are you, Hoge?
I'm a little over 6'2".
Okay, so standing next to him, just like Carm said, just as far, you've been around a lot of quarterbacks, right?
I'm a little bit taller than him. He's also 40 pounds heavier than me. He's built. He's built, and it's muscle. It's not Taco Bell rags.
Yeah.
He watch his film. He's not as tall as Justin Fields. He shakes off tacklers the same way. He slips out of tackles that Bryce Young certainly doesn't. This is not a problem. His height will it potentially lead to a couple balls batted down here and there? Maybe, but this is not a player who's small. It's not a small quarterback. That is not an accurate way to describe him at all. I mean, ideally, if you built all these guys in a lab, you want them to be 6'4"? Yeah, sure, but they're not all that way. Isn't Aaron Rodgers is 6'2", like maybe an inch taller than Caleb Williams? Obviously, Drew Brees was closer to 6 feet. Like Russell Wilson's shorter than right around Drew Brees' height. It's just if you can play the position, it just doesn't matter. What I care more about is how strong are you? And how elusive are you to create throwing windows and avoid sacks? And this guy can create them with his feet and with his arm angles, because he can throw from many different arm angles to find open throwing lanes. And it's not a problem on his film at all.
All right. There's some great comments there. Pretty soon he's going to be a Smurf is in there. He's tall enough. He's strong enough. I got to tell you, my first reaction just looking at him physically was like, those biceps are real. The dude's ripped.
Yeah.
And that ball's coming out. He's flinging it 65, 66, 67 yards that we played. He's handling the media. We're going to talk to Nicholas Moreano coming up in a minute. Hoge, anything else before you go?
No, just kind of that last point. That the box I like to check is just how that ball comes out of his hands. It's just different seeing it in person than on film, and it was just so easy. It was just so smooth. It was what I expected, but it was impressive. Definitely impressive.
All right, Nick, coming up in a second here. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. It's just you. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, pros, sharks, the whole deal. All you got to do is pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection, and then you're going to watch the winnings roll in. Yes, football season over, but we've got college buckets. We've got the NBA playoffs coming up here. We've got tons of places where you can make your deal. So get in on the excitement with PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, NHL, wherever you want to go. You can turn your hoops knowledge, hockey knowledge, wherever into some serious dollars. You can go up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You want to check this out. I'm telling you, it's a ton of fun, and you're going to feel like the genius that you are. This is what you do. You go to prizepicks.com/CHGO, use the code CHGO, and then you get a first deposit match up to $100. Pretty sweet. $2 for every one that you put in. PrizePicks.com/CHGO. Use the code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy.
That's right. And got to tell you about our guys over at Miller Lite. The NFL draft is coming up. Can't come quick enough. 36 days away. What are the Bears going to do? It's the question on everyone's mind, but I think we're only thinking about 9 because we know what we're going to do at 1. How you like that? And we've seen some wild selections over the years, but there's one selection that every football fan can share, and that's an ice cold Miller Lite. The draft has definitely changed over the years, but Miller Lite is still the perfect beer for the draft. Miller Lite knows that beer lovers want their light beer to taste like beer. That's why they brew a light beer that's light on calories, not taste, because what's the point of having a beer if you can't taste it? The kickoff comes around again. Enjoy the beer that tastes like the season. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Akeem Hicks. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/CHGO football, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller Lite time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, Nicholas Moreano up next. As he was also, what are you holding there? Gummy bears?
Gummy worms. Come on now.
No, this is what Caleb Williams sponsors here. Trolley.
Yeah.
It's the next big thing. We're celebrating here after the pro day.
And did you know, their factory is here in Illinois too. So, yeah, we're keeping dibs on you, Trolley. We want some gummy worms. Let's go.
Nick, you're a former wide receiver in high school. Nobody has better hands than you. How would you have done running today with Caleb? The balls were right there, were they not? What was your takeaway? Let's hear your side of things.
Well, I would say, as someone who did play wide receiver in high school, like running out routes, it's all about timing, precision. I thought that's where Caleb Williams was at his best when throwing the football. It was on time. The passes were accurate. There was speed on them. And you didn't have to see many of the receivers have to adjust much when you're coming out of that outbreak, just right there in the pocket. So that was really nice to see, and that was just one of the things that I was paying attention to. I was watching Caleb Williams. Then obviously everyone saw the deep throw to Brendan Rice. I don't even know how the exact yardage on that, but he missed Brendan Rice a little bit earlier in the practice. So I'm glad those two got to connect right at the very end there. But I think as advertised from Caleb Williams, and even before the actual practice had really started, just nonchalantly throwing to each of the guys with his left hand. I think just to kind of show how comfortable he was, despite everyone watching. Obviously a couple of his teammates were going and doing some of the drills prior to him throwing, but hey, let me just throw with my left hand, give it to each guy, not make it too big of a moment, because obviously he knows how important this is. But Caleb Williams, he showed out.
Now, as far as you put here on Twitter, Caleb Williams has been really accurate when throwing out-breaking routes, as you just mentioned. Timing and accuracy have been on point. But as we know, a big part of timing, here with the last couple quarterbacks is about your drop. And it's about your, the way the ball comes out of your hands and your delivery. So from your vantage point within the pocket, not after the ball has come out of his hands, but within the pocket, what were your observations?
Yeah, I think the correct word is just smooth. Caleb Williams drops back. And then obviously in this controlled setting, he knows where he's going to go with the football. There wasn't much simulated pressure, but it just looked smooth. It's not having to be forced out of him. And you could just tell that it's just a natural kind of thing for him to do. So regardless if it is an outbreaking route, or if someone's running a seam up the middle of the field, or there are a couple of throws where Caleb goes through his drop back, he's looking right on purpose, comes back to the middle, and then throws to the running back in the left flat, it just comes really natural to him. So I would describe it as that smooth and just natural.
If you were to nitpick, Nick, what percentage of balls that Caleb threw today were right there in stride?
So I think it might be easier for me to almost go and say which ones weren't. So there was a deep ball, I think to Taj Washington, where Taj had to kind of slow up a little bit for it. So that's one. There's also one of the outbreaking routes where Taj had to make a nice catch, extend his arms to catch the ball, but that would be another one. And then obviously I talked about Brendan Rice. So if he threw around 50, maybe 3 to 4 were not where they absolutely need to be, and 2 of them were caught. So, you're seeing Caleb Williams, the accuracy shows up, the timing shows up. the ability to throw from different arm angles, and obviously the arm strength, like we're watching on the last throw of the practice. So, yeah, it was like around four passes at most where they weren't perfectly on point. So
Right.
I would say that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, I would say the deep ball to the left side, deep downfield to Washington. He did have to slow up, but I don't think that was the worst ball he threw. The one to the right side on the out breaking route, it was thrown behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you really want to just call it for what it is, but again, it's one pass out of 50. So I'm not trying to make any grand proclamations out of it, but just calling it for what it is. And Caleb Williams, when he was interviewed by Steve Weish, Steve asked Caleb how he thought his day went, and he didn't start with what he did right. He immediately started with what he did wrong, and he said the 1 to 2 passes deep that we didn't connect on, and I think I threw behind my receiver a couple times, maybe once, and I think that was the one he was referring to. So that kind of attention to detail, I think, is also important.
Yeah, it's just perfectionist, right? I think, when Caleb was probably envisioning this day, it's like I can make every single one of these passes, and I should be able to, but, things happen. And, sometimes, obviously, running routes on air, like, it should be, an easy thing to do. But I also think, like, when you're preparing for an opponent, you're expecting someone to get jammed at the line of scrimmage, and you're trying to time things off of that. So there's going to be a couple passes that are off the mark, but like I said, when I came into this is actually my first pro day that I get to cover, and not knowing what to exactly expect, but seeing how Caleb operated, the throws that he could make, what he's capable of making. And we didn't even see like any of the wild, crazy arm angles that we've seen in games, but I think he did what he needed to do today, and that was just show out the arm strength.
What stood out behind the scenes, Nick?
I mean, when you're looking, obviously not on the field, just so many interactions are happening. Shane Waldron and Cliff Kingsbury, they're talking it up. And, they were talking for, a good minute there just on the sidelines. Who knows about what, but they were discussing things. Keenan Allen was with Matt Eberflus for a long, long time, just kind of on the side, obviously getting to know his new head coach. And, yes, Ryan Poles is, not too far away from him. Ian Cunningham's right there. But
trying to come up with a nickname for Keenan, right?
That's right. I mean, he needs to come up with something because everybody on the team has an awesome nickname. So I'm sure they'll figure out something soon here. But you're just seeing again, it's like we've been a part of this, being at the NFL Scouting Combine, all the NFL worlds kind of collide, and seeing all these people kind of meet up and kind of get reacquainted with each other. But you're just seeing all these interactions happening. And, if you could just be like a fly on the wall and hearing exactly what they're saying, that'd be great. But yeah, just the Bears obviously had a heavy amount of people here, as they should. Kerry Joseph, the quarterback's coach, was also here watching along. But yeah, you're just kind of seeing all these different interactions happen, and obviously here for the main thing, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, a large contingent of Bears brass there that we all know and recognize. And you mentioned Cliff Kingsbury. I'm curious, I know maybe it's not as easy to recognize people outside of the teams we cover, but did you get any kind of inclination of how many other teams around the NFL were there to see Caleb Williams, and like who had larger contingents as well to come see him?
Good question, Greg. And so I know in the beginning I saw Green Bay was here. I saw the Houston Texans. Saw someone from the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm pretty sure there was at least one person from every single team here. But, who had more of a representation? No one's going to have as much as the Bears here, but that would be tough to say. Just kind of given that some people were kind of spread out a little bit behind where the throws were happening. Some people were off to the sidelines to the left. Some were on the opposite sideline. So kind of tough to tell who would come in second, but Bears were clear favorites here in terms of who had the most representation.
One of the comments that on NFL Plus they were talking about was that, and I forget who said it, so my bad on that, but somebody compared him. He's like, hey, everyone says Patrick Mahomes, but he's a lot more like Russell Wilson to me. A better Russell Wilson is how it was put. What do you think of that comp, Nick?
I mean, I think you see both though. Like some of the throws that you see in game, you're like, well, that is Mahomes X. But then also, I could see the Russell Wilson comparison as well. But, I think for me, just what you've seen on tape and just some of those flash plays, maybe it's a flash plays are more Mahomes, the more of the basic kind of every other type of play is more of the Russ. So maybe I could see that being a fair comparison to both players. I heard you guys were talking about like the size real quickly about Caleb when Adam was on. I can tell you that guy has some ham hocks for leg, guys. So he's got leg definition. He's built to the ground. He's sturdy. So if someone's trying to do that like an ankle tackle, like we've seen it. Everyone's seen it who's watched this film. Like he will break through those types of things. So he might not have, I don't know, quote unquote, like the elite height, but like he's sturdy, especially in his lower legs. He does not skip leg day. Good for Caleb Williams.
And we were talking about the hand size before. Kenny Pickett, who the Steelers just got rid of, 8.5 inches. Joe Burrow, been to a Super Bowl, off to a pretty good start in his career, 9 inches. Caleb Williams, 9 3/4. It comes in all sizes. I like that he's got big hands. It's you can do it the other way, but I enjoy it. Big hands is a good thing. All right. I guess Hoge's got one more thing for us, so you're going to have to put him back on. But Nick, final takeaways, your first pro day. I think it's super cool that you got to do this. Awesome coverage as always. You're the man. Give me your final takeaways here as you come out of this.
Well, here, I'll share kind of this behind the scenes, what happened for yesterday. I booked an Airbnb to get here, you guys. It was a very, very cheap Airbnb. Like, okay, got this, perfect. I did not read the fine print because when I rolled into my Airbnb around 11 o'clock at night, I wasn't the only one in there. It was bunk beds with people in there. I'm like, holy crap. Is this like a hostel or something?
A hostel, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I go in there and like, all right, I don't feel comfortable sleeping here right now. Go down in the basement, which is where the guest place is at. It was actually a nice like location, but that was weird. So I go in the basement. Guy's just rolling up joints. He's like, man, I made like $4 million, but I'm here now. I'm like, you're lying. If you're paid $4 million, you wouldn't be here right now. But I'm just there trying to edit, some stuff. Then I finally go back up to the hostel. Everyone's snoring. The guy above me, Jesus Christ. I thought I was a bad snorer. You can attest to this, Mark. Blows me out of the water. I eventually fall asleep. I'm the first one up, shower, get the hell out of there. And here at the pro day, ready to go.
Wow,
so that was
the things we do.
The crazy experience before covering Caleb Williams pro day.
It's a good behind the scenes. We don't have time for it today because this is a big show, but one day I will talk about my first midlife crisis where I did travel through Europe and stayed in all those type of places when I was 30 years old, which is older than what Nick is right now. And I met some great people and had some great fun. And I'll always remember you, Louisa. All right. Thank you.
Great wingspan.
She was fantastic. Hey,
big hands.
Yeah. Nothing happened. We
Sure.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. All right.
Oh my gosh, what was her hand size?
That's not the things that I was focused on. All right, so Hoge, you wanted to come back in here. You got news. What have you been doing the last 20 minutes, or what have you find out that you're going to relay to our 4,000 people that are watching? Hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Monday through Friday at noon. Pre and post all season long. Breaking news. We're here for you. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. And we could get those likes up over 1,000. That'd be great as well. What do you got, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, it's not breaking news or anything, but just a little bit more clarification that I mentioned earlier. I was trying to get on that answer that Caleb Williams gave about not knowing when the 30 visit was going to be to House Hall. And just my understanding is that the visit's still expected to happen. I want to make that clear. I think the one thing to realize with Caleb Williams is just this is not a normal prospect that you typically deal with, and it's not any fault of his own. I said this last week, he's already a superstar. When he got taken, I don't want to say taken out of the stadium today, but it kind of felt like that because as he's leaving this track and field stadium where they had the pro day today, like there must have been, Nick, 12 security guards by him, like surrounding him out of here. Like it reminded me of the time I saw Shaq walking down the boardwalk at Disney World one time. And not every prospect, not any other prospect in this draft is really dealing with that type of thing. So he's got a big group that's working with him, I think, with scheduling a lot of different things. And there's dates still out there, is my understanding. They're going to figure it out. That's just why he didn't know off the top of his head when the visit to Hallis Hall was actually going to be.
Fair enough. Look, let's just jump off that for a second here, and you're not going to figure this out today. But do we think that the Bears are ready for that part of the Caleb experience? Because this is going to be different.
Well, I don't care. They need to be ready. If you want to have a big-time quarterback in this league, this is what comes with it. And honestly, I don't even think it'll be that big of a distraction. Like, once you're in the building, once you're working, all that attention isn't really there. It's always on the outside regardless of who you are. Justin Fields had to deal with it too. Mitch Trubisky had to deal with it too. When you show up to work in the morning at Hallis Hall, you get to work. And everything from Caleb Williams is he cares about football. He loves football, which is Matt Eberflus is always number one criteria. And he puts the work in. And obviously none of this stuff phases him. That's another important thing about this. Like this whole like confidence he carries, sort of almost like a nonchalant manner that he handles questions and things like this. I just think it's just not a lot that bothers him. So yes, there's going to be more of a spotlight. I think a smart NFL team would embrace that, especially where they're at. I don't know if it's going to go as far as them embracing the idea of like Hard Knocks coming to town, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to have to deal with it, and it's in the best interest of the entire team.
People in the chat saying, bets on if Carman will spill his drink today. I have a cover today. Thank you very much. All right, hey, Hoge, here's my nitpick that's going to get everybody mad. You ready for this one? And you're going to shoot it down like you do, and you'll sound smarter than me, but I'm just going to nitpick, and here it is. He talks about leadership, and it's almost like I sometimes wonder if he's talking about is it something that he knows he has to do and has to impress you on, that he's a leader, versus something that's just like natural to his personality. Because he's like, yeah, I know I got to show this, and I'm out here with my guys, and I texted him last night. He's like underlining what he's doing, which is cool that he understands all of it. And again, this is a nitpick and probably moronic, but I do wonder, like, if you feel like this is just some natural leader who really wants to be that guy that brings people along. I think he is, but there's part of me that wonders if there's a little bit of a performance in it. Go ahead.
Yeah, to be honest, you're kind of putting me in a tough spot on that. I've literally been in the same room as this guy twice now. I don't know him well enough. I didn't cover him at USC. I've done all the homework on him. I've never had anyone tell me that's a problem. And if he's saying he wants to work on it, then, I mean, I don't know. We all want to work on things that we can be better at. So it's a long way of me saying I don't know the answer to that question right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying it's a problem, and it's totally fine. It's just interesting to me, some of the things that he underlines. And maybe he's growing into it. But but what comes out of the locker room, by the way, is that his guys love him.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, he's in the spotlight, so he knows he has to say certain things in front of the media. But I think listening to his teammates and watching today how he interacted with his teammates, the center was wrestling him after the practice was over, after the pro day was over and stuff. So. I've heard teammates talk about how he's taking them paintballing, and he takes everybody out for dinner on the offensive line, even the guys that are, third on the depth chart and stuff like that. So I think hearing from the teammates specific stories of who he is as a person speaks more to that character. But, at the end of the day, he's going to have to prove his leadership in the locker room when he gets there.
Oh, just listen, you're coming back tonight. Just grab him, bring him back to Hallis Hall, get him there, help him find where he needs to live. This is happening. This is going to be the dude.
Well, and it came out during the NFL Plus stream, and I'm sure you have it recorded, Hoge, but they reported on the stream that Caleb Williams didn't work out at the combine, but he did work out offsite with high schoolers and middle schoolers when in Indianapolis, and made it a goal to remember all the kids' names. That was said on the broadcast, and that wasn't promoted while we were there in Indianapolis. That was something he did behind the scenes, and so I think that's pretty cool of him to do.
Yeah, but I saw him at the Players' Championship on Thursday on TV, so I clearly think he hasn't been doing any football work for 2 months.
Well,
like that one guy in Indy tried to tell us. That was hilarious. Guys, my right ear pod already died. I have a feeling my left is about to go. We're gonna have to run. what I'm going to tell you, say goodbye to Nick too.
Bye, Nick.
Carm and Braggs can take you guys the rest of the way with super chats and all that. But we got a lot more coverage still coming from here. We're getting on a flight, but we're going to be working the entire time. We'll have more tweets, more video. I think we're going to work on a super cut of all of his throws too that we're going to try to get posted for you. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button, follow us at CHGO_Bears. We're the only outlet in Chicago that had more than one person here. So, you know, our investment in trying to get you guys all the coverage leading up to the draft, I think you guys already know this, but it's in full force and we're not going anywhere. Die Hard Overtime is coming up. As soon as this show's over, I think Nick's going to dive in there on the Discord channel. So it's another reason why you should be signed up to be a diehard. Also, I'm going to be working on the flight home on a newsletter about all the Pro Day stuff that'll be coming out tomorrow in your inbox. So you still have time today. If you're not already a diehard, please go sign up. You'll have that newsletter in your inbox tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
Ryan Olson in the chat. How do I donate to the No More Hostels Fund? That's funny. Become a diehard. That'll be your donation. We appreciate it.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, great stuff, Adam. Great stuff, Nick. Phenomenal job. And travel safe. And we look forward to all the content you just talked about that we'll be seeing soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. So Braggs and I are going nowhere.
Yeah.
Now we can settle into
and real
whatever
quick,
this is gonna be.
just to echo the sentiments here while we got 4,000 people watching live and talking about becoming a diehard. When you become a diehard, you do get a free shirt right out the gate from our CHGO locker. A lot of great merchandise at allchgo.com, and you go to chgolocker.com and you can see that stuff. And you also can get a discount on future events, including in 36 days, our NFL draft party at Joe's on Weed Street, presented by Circa Sports. It's going to be a lot of fun. Casa Azul will be, sponsoring as well. We're going to be there Thursday night and Friday night. So Thursday night we'll be live for the first round and the celebration that will be the first round, having 2 top 10 picks and introducing Caleb Williams to the world. And then DJ Trey Tunes for the after party Thursday night. And then Friday night, we're running it back, doing it again at Joe's on Weed Street. Main stage in the back room, having a lot of fun. Second and third round will be live for the whole thing. And Gary Fensick will be there from Collector's Cave, bringing Gary Fensick into the house. You'll have an opportunity to get a picture, get an autograph with Gary. And then after the whole show's over, another after party with Dalton, Carm, and the Sheriffs performing on stage after our show is over. So the fun is not going to stop at Joe's on Weed Street. Go to allchgo.com/events. Get your tickets. The tickets are moving fast. So I'm telling you, get your tickets now. You can get tables. You can get individual seats. You can get general admission. You can get tickets that get you all you can drink. You can add on to meet Gary Fensick and get his autograph. A lot of different opportunities for you fans to come out and have a lot of fun with us. Friday night, only show in town. The only place you can go somewhere and watch a draft party and hang out with Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Nick Moriano, myself. Corey Wooten will be there both nights as well, and a bunch of people from CHGO Sports across all our different sports. So really excited for this event. Make sure you come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait.
All right, there you go. We'll see you there. Can't wait. And yes, listen, if Dalton and the Sheriffs for real will let me on stage, I will try to top what Cole Kmet did at the United Center. That is my goal. All right, so here are my notes from today, just to go through them as I was watching the workout, the experience of Caleb today. My first thing I wrote down was great torque. I loved the torque I was seeing. Then I wrote down his large muscles. The guy, the biceps were real, man. Those things were popping. And then I put down smooth and controlled. That's what I was seeing, and Nick and Adam were both underlining that. I think everyone's underlining that. Also, the fact, this, as they report on the NFL Network, the Bears have been there since Monday. A couple of dinners, which was interesting to hear, reported that they've had some dinners, which was not, discussed at length, but apparently, they're hanging out. The way they went about the workout today, 60% of it was shotgun, 40% was under center. So they are showing that he can do both here. Of course, the Bears are going to run the ball a bunch here as they get Caleb off the ground. We can have a deeper discussion, by the way, in the coming weeks as to how soon, that's going to be a huge discussion. How soon are they going to put him on the field? Is it going to be week 1? Do they need a more established veteran quarterback? I'll answer that question myself right now. No, they don't. The guy went 2-2. Stick with Tyson Bagent. But it's there's a lot of things that the Bears are going to have to figure out on how best to ensure his success, not just adding on players. When they were talking about Russell Wilson, which I brought up earlier, they said he was a better on-schedule thrower than Russell. Well, that's true that he's better on schedule. I mean, Russell Wilson had a hell of a career until he went sideways the last couple of years. So I like that comparison. It feels more real to me than comparing him to the best quarterback in the game right now. I mean, maybe he will become that. But, I don't know. If his floor was Russ, that'd be pretty damn ass sweet. One of the balls was 55 yards in the air. It was a little bit late. That's why I was asking Nick about how many times, because you obviously have a better feel for that when you're there to see how much are really on time versus guys are waiting a half second for it, which, of course, is going to matter in the NFL if we're going to nitpick a pro day, which I think I will grant you is crazy, and what we're doing here is a little nuts, but this is the NFL, and this is the number 1 pick, and this is what we're going to do today. It's almost the job to nitpick this stuff. The big punt was sweet. And I thought he had some great hugs after that. Seemed like everybody was enjoying themselves. And it just felt to me like just a sort of a taking care of business pro day. Yeah. That was my takeaway. And a little fun with his center, Justin Dietich, rolling him to the ground. I'm like, get off him. Don't touch that guy. We need to keep him nice and healthy, but it was. Yeah.
He probably had most of Chicago rioting when he did that.
Yeah.
So
and one last thing, I'm sorry, so then I can feel complete. He said about do you expect in his interview with Steve Weish, they asked him, do you expect to be a Bear? And he said, I wouldn't say it's my full expectations. A lot can change. Control what you want to control. The way I'm reading that is that he doesn't want to be arrogant about it and whatnot. And
speak out of turn.
So that's my read, but that is what he said there, and he hasn't yet to confirm when he's visiting at Hallis Hall.
Well, Steven, do we have anything from him speaking to the media? I know he talked about Keenan Allen as well. Do we not have that stuff?
We do not.
Okay, just checking. And that's fine. If you go to our CHGO Bears Twitter account, we put up a bunch of different stuff, and including him talking about Keenan Allen coming out, and he talked about the idea of him being teammates with Keenan here coming up, and some of those comments I think definitely peeled through the idea that he knows this is coming sooner rather than later, and the interactions, obviously, seeing Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus talking with Caleb's dad, Carl, and Keenan and Caleb dapping it up. And then here, just after the pro day, Caleb Williams said on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, talking about Bears fans, I've heard that they love football. Their fans love football. That's one of the biggest things I care about, is a place that cares. If that's the place I'll be, and I'm excited. And then, there was another thing he said, too, in regards to his comps to Patrick Mahomes. And we asked, Ryan Poles about those, comps to Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to pull it up, Steven. I'll just read it. It says, I'm not Patrick Mahomes. I'm not in his brain. But the things he does physically, I don't think I can't do. Hopefully soon I'll get to see him, go against him, and have a good battle between us. And when we asked Ryan Poles, like, hey, do you see the similarities? Cliff Kingsbury says they're eerily similar, and Ryan did not hide from it. He was like, yeah, their arm angles, and he went into length about, surgeons versus artists when they're evaluating quarterbacks, and to hear a guy sit there, he's talking about the top dog, Patrick Mahomes, and obviously they have a similar style play. They come from the same system, but excited to have battles against Patrick Mahomes. The beatdowns that we've taken from that dude, and hey, I'll still be fearful every time the Chiefs are on our schedule, but to have a guy that's staring the mountaintop in the face and saying, bring it on, I like that kind of swagger.
So shout out to my good buddy Nick Wright, who's always killing it on Fox Sports 1 and who's been on the show, and we'll have him again, and who's revow or whatever he's doing of his wedding is coming up in Kansas City that I'm going to. And he had a great take, or an interesting take, about right now, before he's even drafted, where would Caleb Williams rank in NFL quarterbacks if you made it open season right now of where you're going to pick? Who is he? Where does he slot? He's obviously going to be, behind Patrick Mahomes, right? All right. After that, I'll just read names. You taking Justin Herbert over him? I think you are.
Yeah.
You taking Jordan Love over him?
You put me on the spot here. I don't, but
Green
Green Bay sucks.
Let's put it this way.
But
are you taking Brock Purdy over him?
I think the Niners would take Caleb Williams over
Damn
Brock
right.
Purdy.
Correct. Do you think the Cowboys would take Caleb Williams or Dak Prescott?
Caleb.
Do you think they would take Caleb Williams or Kirk Cousins in Atlanta?
Caleb.
Do you think that Baltimore would take Caleb Williams or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar.
Really?
I mean,
I don't think so.
So if they had to make that,
I don't think so.
If they had
It's
to
a
make that,
toss-up.
You think it's
Just
a
one
toss-up?
MVP,
Do you think the Dolphins are taking Tua or Caleb?
Caleb, easy.
Right. Do you think that Detroit is taking Jared Goff or Caleb?
Caleb, that's easy.
So I don't exactly know where he slots, but it's way the hell up there, man.
Right.
Already,
if all those
he
teams had the
hasn't-
number one pick, which ones wouldn't take Caleb Williams? That the list is very short.
And the Giggities, great name. Lamar won an MVP. I got him. I got it, my friend. But
right.
Listen, I'm just.
And when they were going through the contract disputes, if the Ravens had the number one pick and they had those contract issues with Lamar like they did, last year, they probably would have just drafted Caleb Williams. And that's not a slight on Lamar. It's just the same thing as far as timing is concerned. Just obviously from a different level of perspective when you talk about Fields, because Lamar obviously has a lot more of a resume than Fields does, but it's the same kind of mindset. Now they've got him locked up. He just won another MVP. They've built the entire team around him. I don't know if they'd take Caleb over Lamar after everything they've put, but if you're just doing it in a vacuum without any of the context, then that's a different conversation.
I mean, I could have done a little bit more, got myself clear on exactly who I would take over him. So I'll take the L on that. But
no, you're just throwing it in my lap.
Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert are an easy 4. And after that, we've been debating in the office the CJ factor. I mean, CJ threw for 4,100 yards as a rookie on the Houston Texans.
Right, the Texans would keep CJ because CJ's known,
and
you don't know yet with Caleb, and I think the same. As much as I think Green Bay sucks, and they do, I think Green Bay would take the safe bet and stick with Jordan Love. Although there's the age implication too that you have to take into consideration.
Yeah. So I'm just underlining the position the Bears are in and who
it's
they're
a great position.
And who,
I have never cared. Like you said, it's like a silly thing we're doing today. I don't know if any Bears fans can tell me what pro day have we ever been this excited for. There has never been one is the answer. Like, I don't care what anybody says. This was a spectacle today, and I get we are part of making it a spectacle with the coverage and the content we're pumping out. But at the same time, it's because this is what the fans want. This is what I want. If I was sitting at home, I would be thirsting for this content. And NFL Plus is, making it exclusive to people that are paying $7 a month to watch. Right now, everybody has to wait until 8 o'clock to see this because they're going to air it live on NFL Network tonight. The coverage we put out, for a lot of Bears fans is their first look at this, and a lot of fans, in the last few days that have come around to the idea that he's going to be the quarterback now that Justin Fields has been traded. So this is it. Today was really exciting. It's, silly to kind of nitpick through the 50 throws and all of that stuff, but to see Keenan Allen there was unbelievable. Like, for me as a Bears fan, and all of us, how cool was that? And we're so close to this being locked in. Let's ride. Future is here, man. It's an awesome time to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, I mean, the locked in part, whatever. It's locked in. It's happening. This is going down. That the Bears are going to draft Caleb. They've already traded Justin, as we all well know. This is
Right.
this is what's
Well,
happening.
and then the whole question too with the dinner thing is okay, so they had dinner reportedly. Base Bears fan. NFL Plus just made $1 million off Bears fans. 100%. Easy. No doubt. There's no question about it. I was getting irritated. because they delayed. It said his throwing was gonna start at 12:30. It didn't start till 1. And Bears, fans were panicking across the country that the stream was like crashed, and it wasn't. They were just waiting for Caleb to get to his throws. That's how much we were dying to see this content and footage. So yeah, it's an exciting time right now.
Let's see our super chats here, and we appreciate all the support today. We got over 1,000 likes. Yeah, 13 chats. So first up is Isaac Siegel. 50 smackarooskies, if you will. That's right. That was the most open showing of, quote, this is our guy I've ever seen from the Bears. Caleb's footwork and throwing motion and everything was incredibly smooth, like we haven't seen here in Chicago. Truly impressive. Let's go Bears. Subscribe and like Isaac. Thank you so much for all the support, my friend.
So Steven, if you could pull up the video of where it's like zoomed in on him in the pocket. And then they show a few of them. So here's the one thing. When you talk about nitpicking, so the first 2 throws, little pat, and then he throws. Let's watch the second one here. Because I know some Bears fans are going to talk about this because this was a big talking point with Justin Fields. Watch. Pat, and then he throws. And so with Justin, that was a tick that he would pat before he would throw the ball. Now watch these last 2 throws. He does not pat. Comes out of his hand smooth there. And then the next one here, I mean, look at it. I'm just QB, quarterback coach here, smooth out of his hand, no pat. So, when you talk about picking nits, right?
It's a good nick pick by you.
I like it. That's the eye right there, the eye. Yeah. Well, because we all have, what did you call it? PPBDST?
PTBD. Post Bears Traumatic. PBTD.
PBTD. We all have been through this with different quarterbacks and each one having a different flaw, whether it's Rex or Orton or Jay or Mitch and Fields. And so with Fields, it was a lot about talking about patting the ball. But so there was 2 where he did, and then there was 2 where he didn't. There's other quarterbacks when you watch in the NFL, they pat the ball before they throw it, and they're great quarterbacks in the league. So don't get me wrong when I start talking about breaking down the quarterback position. I'm still the meatball here at CHGO Bears. Let's not get it twisted. But at the same time, these are the things we're going to look at. These are the things when we get to mini camp, when we get to training camp. But overall, the whole operation, he is smooth. It's exciting to watch. But this is where we finally get to talk football and stop talking about the hypotheticals.
All right, next super chat coming on up here is from Scotty B, $1.99. Appreciate you, Scotty. Ho, Caleb sat for Moss in the bowl game. Yeah. Can you confirm? Okay, well, we cannot confirm that, but Scotty, appreciate the question. Can anybody confirm?
He sat out that game.
He definitely sat out.
Just for health reasons, just to make him stay healthy for the draft.
And they won that game, and the quarterback who was his backup played great. So
Moss, yeah.
Yeah, people were using that against him. Whatever. Okay, $1.99 from Robbie Rowe. Thank you so much, Robbie. Appreciate you. Tyler Vaughn, $4.99.
Robbie Rowe. I'm sorry.
Great. That's my job. Stay in your lane. Great work, guys. By the way, SportsCenter is using your video on their Instagram.
Can confirm it is on there. I'm looking at it as we speak.
SportsCenter.
Thanks. Did they ask us, or are they just ripping?
I think they just ripped it. It's got 12,000 likes on it, though.
All right, SportsCenter.
Nice
we're watching you. You put us on Get Up the other day. SportsCenter pulling it up. Hey, happy to help, SportsCenter.
Hey, all the more reason to just follow our Twitter page because we're going to get it before SportsCenter. That's what we just learned.
Thank you, SportsCenter, for loving CHGO. Robbie Rowe with $4.99 more. People make up all these scenarios to want to hate Caleb. It's time to move on. Love Justin Fields, but it's C-dub time. Let's effing go. Bear the F down.
I love it. Yeah, Brendan Rice, Marshawn Lloyd, Taj Washington. There was no talk about that. Zero talk whatsoever.
And Brendan Rice is a legitimate possible
Eberflus
target.
Reportedly not even looking
I don't know who those people are. $4.99 from our guy, Matt Nuku. What's up, Nuku? Good to see you every day, my friend. As long as Caleb Williams isn't going on the ayahuasca retreats. Ayahuasca, right.
We call it ayahuasca here.
Whatever. And pushing weird political agendas like someone we know. That's right, you, Aaron Rodgers, you idiot. Then he'll be fine. C-Dub is 10,000% a bear down. Thanks, Nuku. Appreciate you and underlining the idiocy that has become Aaron Rodgers, who once I thought was an intelligent person. All right. That's a long time ago now. $5 from Lord from the trees. Love you guys. Team Carm forever, Lord. Let's praise the Lord. Going to the table. I was hoping for the Super Bowl. I was hoping for the super trade down plan, but now it's all on board with the new QB plan. Caleb's potential is absurd. Lord, I went back and forth too, man. I'm still going back and forth in my head, but the train has left the tracks here.
Team Carm forever? What kind of world is this? Stephen Brodhay, what?
You should have been here today at whatever time it was.
I'm Team Carm every day.
Yeah.
I'm 10 toes down. From my good buddy
Don't
Carm.
touch me.
Stephen Brodhay, $5 super chat. I'm a conspiracist, but it seems the Bears are trying very too hard to impress Caleb Williams instead of vice versa.
Well,
He's doing the Carm, reading into things.
Well, look, the Bears do have to. They don't have to, but it would be wise for the Bears to put their best foot forward to make him feel comfortable. I was wondering today, like, Flus, how you handle these conversations there? Because let's be honest, man, Eberflus, I love you, Flus, but he's a slightly strange dude. Like, how does he connect with these guys? Seriously, when him and Carl Williams are talking, when him and Keenan Allen are talking, like Nick's reporting that long conversation, I'm wondering how he's handling himself. That dude's not an easy conversationalist.
Well, and so that was one of my questions that I wanted to ask Hoge, was like where he said he got the impression that Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus hadn't met, Caleb's dad yet. Carl Williams, when he walked him over and introduced him to Carl, or whoever did walked, Ryan and Matt over to introduce him to Carl. And so if they did have the dinner, then it was just Caleb with the brass, because again, doing the Carm nitpicking thing, there is a video we have up of Ryan Poles shaking hands with Carl Williams. And if you read the body language, it's kind of a quick shake and turn as opposed to a shake and maybe like a few sentences of cordial conversation. Like it was a quick thing there. So, I don't know, like maybe Ryan's trying to separate the family from the business kind of mentality there.
Yeah. Even I will not go down that road and try to.
Yes, you will.
I will at some point, but right now I won't. Super Chat $4.99 from Swanky32. What's up, Swanky? Great show, guys. Hoge, will you be having dinner with LeBron and then hit the club with the Kardashians tonight? That's what he did last night, Swanky. The guy was out till 3 a.m.
He messed up. He didn't know that the Blackhawks were in town in L.A.
Is that really messing up?
Well, I can confirm he will not be going out with the Kardashians or LeBron tonight, because he's going to be at Circa Sportsbook in Waukegan tomorrow, where we're going to be doing a live show at 9:30 a.m. with a college hoops watch party to follow. Braggs, you'll be there. Carmen, you'll be there. I'll be there.
Yep. It's going to be, I'm going right from here to there because I need to get there before Greg Braggs, because from now on, everything I do in my life, I'm going to do better than Greg Braggs.
I know you will.
There we go. All right. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. If you could come on out, we'd love to see you. And there will be a ton of, obviously, of content coming out from yesterday. But the main point is early show tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. early. So wake up with CHGO Bears tomorrow.
Yep. And then afterwards, having a college basketball special. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Come to Circa Sportsbook in Waukegan. We'll be there bright and early.
Reggie Banks, $1.99. What's up, Reggie? I don't care how Hoge dresses it. 6'3" is short. Little guy. Hey, Reggie, he ain't a huge quarterback. He ain't 6'4". He ain't Peyton Manning. You're right. He's not. But that doesn't mean he can't be successful.
How tall are you, Reggie? Huh?
It's irrelevant. Reggie, you can be whatever size.
How tall are you?
Reggie's super successful.
See, if you're a little guy.
Okay, stop talking. Reggie's super successful in his life because he's able to give us super chats. Congratulations on being you, Reggie.
Isaac Siegel, $5 super chat. Also, Caleb slipped up when talking about Keenan Allen, saying now he's here for a 4th round pick. That's crazy. Williams to Bears confirmed. LOL. I mean,
that's literally Jay Zawoski called me over.
A lot of fans are. When we put the graphic up on Twitter, that's what a lot of people are parsing through the words. I wouldn't read that much into it. We know.
I would.
I don't think it is. I think he was just talking about here as in here with the Bears. But at the end of the day, the Bears are drafting him. He knows it. We know it. Bears know it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's exactly right. KR.
His name is Crackern, and he's a great dude. He's come to our tailgates.
He's
before.
definitely one of your Twitter followers, right?
Yes, of course. He's in Spaces. He's come to our tailgates.
I could tell by his comment.
We call him Crackern.
Crackern, you're the man. White sweatshirts don't make you feel any less slim. Bear down.
Why you got to take a shot at me for $20, Crackern?
No, you opened yourself up to that last time on Twitter.
Why you got to do that?
Well,
Why you got to do that?
I mean, it was stunning to me how much Carl Williams and Greg Braggs looked similar today.
Don't do that.
Next up is Adam Jenkins, $1.99. Carm was right about the Flus and Caleb hug. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So we'll nitpick the Flus Caleb hug, but not the handshake for Poles.
Poles
and Carl.
Give me the long, solid embrace, the hold. You're my quarterback. Just lean into it. $2 from Really 7. Justin is gone. Let's unify under Caleb and Shane. It's funny about the unify thing, because I've been listening to this person to my left. Let's all come together as Bears fans. Hey, man.
Let's do it.
You are allowed to be in your feelings still.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are.
Get over it.
No, okay. Cut his mic. You are allowed to do that. And I honestly, as crazy as this time has been, I appreciate, as crazy as it's been, once again, how much people really appreciated Justin because of how quality of a dude that Justin was. And I hope that Justin is going on to be successful.
Yeah, where is Robert Freel been?
Well,
for a week now.
But so, look, you get there when you want to get there. We don't need to unify and all come together because you say so or anybody else says so.
No. It is. Yeah. Come together time. Robert Freel, get back in the chat. Quit your crying. Caleb Williams is a Bear.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
All right.
One new diehard today, Chad.
Oh, yeah. So our newest diehard, the great Chad. And let me tell you something. I wrote 3 pages on Chad.
Oh, shit.
Chad. Hey, what? You will show Chad. You will show Chad some respect. Not only is Chad the guy that would sat in the front of the room in math class in English and led the way, Chad was also the guy in the locker room that brought along the guys that weren't doing their job.
Hurry up.
Like you, Greg Braggs.
Montana State, Grambling State is in less than an hour. I need a scout who Purdue is playing. Can you move this along?
Chad would have liked to have had some people join him to be a diehard today, but Chad will go along. The great Chad is our one diehard ad today. You can do one too by becoming one and getting your free t-shirt and getting all our content that we put out. And you could be in the Die Hard Overtime Discord with Nick and Adam, as that'll be for those diehards coming up later today. So if you get in there, you get in your Discord, get the Die Hard thing going on, and there's basically another show going on. So thank you to Chad, and thank you to all our future diehards to come. All right, and I have seen a ton in the chat today about Tyson Bagent. My Bagenties out there, we will unify and stay together because Tyson Bagent
QB1
is our QB2.
Man, I can't wait to get to Circa Sportsbook tomorrow in Waukegan. We're going to do a whole Bears show tomorrow.
When does Purdue play?
We're going to break down Friday night. Northwestern plays Friday morning. Purdue plays Friday night. It's going to be exciting. So Thursday, CHGO Bears, 9:30. We're going to spend a whole hour talking about the Purdue Boilermakers and their road to the Final Four. It's exciting, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about the Bears. Just going to talk about my love for the Purdue Boilermakers.
I'll be off the show at that point. All right. Hey, Steven, thanks for producing. Great job again by Adam and Nick out.
Speaking of Steven, we just got another super chat. $5 from Steven Lord. Don't worry, Braggs. This Lord is Team Braggs. Love you too, Carm. Love the coverage,
but
boys.
Steven, that's great, but you have to pick. You can't do this one or the other. It's either me or him. Okay, we met this guy. Where were we at the combine or Super Bowl? And he was like, "Yeah, I like Carm the most." which was bullshit. But he at least was honest. It broke my heart, and it was also kind of unbelievable.
We all know that without me, you're nothing, and it's not really a debate. Okay, thanks for watching. Fun day here. As look, big day. Let's call it.
It was the off-season Super Bowl.
It felt like an off-season Super Bowl today. It absolutely did. So congrats, I guess, to all.
We won.
We have a big victory. We'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 from Circa. Come on out if you can. If not, we'll see you on the stream. And, hey, can bear the hell down, man. That was a good day for the Bears. Caleb and company, thanks so much for watching.
Caleb is a fucking bear.